now that we have our 2 images of Andrew cut out and ready to use and saved as smart objects, let's go ahead and open up those stock images that we had saved to use in our composite. And we get to start really putting this all together and seeing what it's going to look like as an image as a whole. So let's go through these real quick. This here is the image that we're going to use as the foundation for our image. This will be our main background. So let's go ahead and drag this to our composition. Great, let's expand our composition size to match this a little better. And for now, we won't size our image as it will be in the end. We'll just kind of crop it outwards so that we have a little room to play with. Let's do that, and then we'll rename this image background. And we'll put it below everything else. And we don't need these 2 color fill layers anymore, so we'll go ahead and delete those. Now let's go, first off, replace Andrew so he fits well within this image. So go Control T, size him down, place him in here like this, something like that. Then we'll turn on Andrew Rescue. Andrew Rescue needs to be below Andrew because he's behind him in the picture. And we will have him coming down to save Andrew. Maybe something like that. Okay, and I think I want to size these both up a little bit better, or a little bit bigger. So I'll go ahead and do that. The great thing is we're using smart objects, right? So it doesn't matter how many times we scale them up and down. They will always remain fully sharp, fully crisp. And we can make as many adjustments as we need to. Let's go ahead and add, what I want to do next is add some bubbles like this as an overlay. So we'll go to this picture, drag it on here, and bring it below our 2 other images, and we will see what we can do with this. Let's scale it up a bit. And then I don't want to see this, right? It's just going to act as an overlay because we have these cool bubbles here. So if I stretch it downwards like this a little bit, and then scale it up. Great. Okay, now I'll put it on top of everything and we'll change the blend mode to soft light. Okay, so you can see with and without that, it's just adding some elements, but it's adding elements over our subjects here. So it's gonna help to really place them within the scene. Because we're using soft light, it's going to increase the saturation quite a bit, especially when we have a blue and a blue. So what I'll do with these layers that we're adding is I will add hue saturation adjustment. Actually, we'll go to vibrance. I'll bring the saturation down and then apply that to the layer beneath. And now this layer isn't going to affect the color of the background and the overall image, but it will affect the luminance values. Because we're using soft light blend mode, wherever it was dark on this image, it will make it a little darker. Wherever it was light, like in these bubbles, it will make it a little bit lighter. So we can add some contrast to our overall image that way. Now let's go ahead and bring in some more. So I'll exit out of the ones I've already used. Okay, so here, let's go to this image, bring that in. This is really going to help make it feel like Andrew is falling downward. So I'll turn off the Andrew rescue layer, and we'll just focus on Andrew here. And I'm looking especially at these bubbles, because I want to put these kind of around Andrew as he's falling down to make it look like he fell into the water and now he's moving downward. Because his head is up here and I feel like most of his body weight is up here, I want to flip this image because there's kind of heavier bubbles right here. We're going to scale this up, so really this is what we're going to see. So I'll go Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. Now I flipped this, bring the opacity down so we can see it, and now I'll scale it up. So it really surrounds Andrew. Go ahead and stretch it up as well. Accept that, and now let's change the blend mode to overlay. We'll Alt and then click and drag to copy that vibrance layer, and now that overlay isn't doing anything to affect the colors of the overall image. And great, so now we have these bubbles all around Andrew, and we want to just place them so they really make it look like he fell through there. Okay, so let's add a layer mask to this layer. What we'll do is we'll invert that layer mask, and then we'll just paint in where we do want to see the bubbles with the softest brush possible. So let's do some overall adjustments here, paint some bubbles in here. And let's get more specific around his body, making sure that we have bubbles all around here. And let's see. We could even show the surface here. It might look cool. It kind of matches the rest of the scene. So let's go ahead and show the surface of this image as well. Great. That looks awesome. And now we can try to make it look like Andrew kind of exhaled as he was falling here by, let's use this image. We're going to just use these bubbles and place them above his face. So bring the opacity down and try to place this believably. So we'll scale it down quite a bit. Scale it down even more. Okay, like that. Change the blend mode to either overlay or soft light. Do soft light. Bring that vibrance adjustment layer here. And now we'll add a curve to this as well to match the tonal values of the rest of the picture. So we need to clip it there, and then I need to bring up the shadows here. Okay, that looks better. Now let's go ahead and add a layer mask to this layer, invert it, and paint back in where we do want to see those bubbles. So they're kind of coming off of Andrew right here. Okay, and I'm definitely going to need to readjust the curve that we made there. Okay, so let's go back to that curve and thing is I don't want to get rid of all the detail. Oops. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and dodge and burn directly onto this layer. So we'll go to the dodge tool, target the shadows. Try to bring these shadows up right here where it's especially dark, then around the edges of this image. And then we will use the burn tool to target the highlights, especially here. Okay, and now let's just bring the opacity of this layer down a bit. Great. So now we just have some more bubbles, more area specific bubbles, I guess. I'll play with the mask and kind of bring it down even a little bit more. Oh, that was my smudge tool. I want my brush. Okay, maybe if we bring the opacity here up a little bit. Yeah, we'll bring the opacity up and just mask out a little more. And I think I went too far with the masking, so I'll bring my brush size down, lower the opacity of my brush. Just again, paint up here to add some bubbles. And then make sure that it's a nice smooth transition. Great. Okay, and this is coming together nicely. Now we'll turn on the other Andrew layer back here. Now I want to bring them a little lower. Okay. Get rid of this. Let's see what we have. We have a few more options here to play with. Used that. Okay, let's go back to our image. The other water images we were going to use to like as overlays over the overall image. So right now let's not worry about those. Let's in fact create a group of all of the water overlays and we'll call it water. Water. Great, so we have water, Andrew, Andrew rescue, and our background.